Well, everyone, today is St. Patrick's Day, and I hope you're all wearing green. Now, I may not be wearing, I may not be entirely green myself as seen by my avatar, but I do have green on my claws. Yeah, I do have green, so yeah, I guess that counts. Anyways, today is March 17th, and it is St. Patrick's Day, of course, so yeah. Now, since this is the beginning of the stream, I'm just going to be talking about a brief history of St. Patrick's Day. So, it was originally a religious feast day to commemorate St. Patrick, who died on March the 17th, 461. That's also when the day is celebrated. And back then, he established monasteries, churches, and schools. I also heard that St. Patrick drove the snakes out of Ireland and used the shamrock to explain the Trinity. So St. Patrick's Day is also a day where you can dress up in green and, just like St. Patrick, display shamrocks, to show the Trinity. Fun fact, I'm actually sort of a religious person in real life, by the way. And another cool thing about St. Patrick's Day is that you can have some foods like corned beef. Not just that, there are also some Irish stew and some soda bread that people like to eat on that day. Now, I may not be as big of a fan as, I may not be that big on St. Patrick's Day as much as other holidays like Christmas or Halloween. I mean, Halloween's technically not like, it's technically not really, like a holiday because some people go to school on that day. But I'm just saying these are my favorite special events, I'm saying. So I may not be like as big on St. Patrick's Day as Halloween or Christmas, but it's still a cool celebration nonetheless. So yeah. So if you guys want to say anything in the chat, just go ahead, as long as it's nothing inappropriate. So yeah. So I'm going to show you about what I recently found on St. Patrick's Day because this is pretty interesting. Let me just pull up something. So I'm looking on an article on Britannica right there. So just let me just pull it up for a second. All right, so if you guys can see it right there, so this is the article I showed you guys. Like, no, I'm showing you now, guys. So apparently, it looks like that there's parades that you can find on St. Patrick's Day, and also it says here that this shift, no, some Irish immigrants, particularly in the U.S., transformed it into a more secular celebration. The first St. Patrick's Day parade was held in Boston in 1737, followed by New York City in 1762. So yeah, I guess that's pretty interesting. Learn something new every day, huh? All right. So if there's any questions you want me to ask, no, if you want to ask, sorry about that. So if there's any questions you want to ask in the chat, then just go ahead. As long as it's nothing inappropriate or stuff like that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to block you if you say anything nasty like that. So guys, I want to know, guys, what do you think of St. Patrick's Day? Do you think it's a cool celebration, or do you think it's For me personally, I think it's a pretty interesting celebration. Like I said before, it may not be like my most favorite of them, but I still like it. Doesn't mean I hate it though. So yeah. So if there's any questions you want me to ask me, like, then just go ahead. Unless you want to, you know. So so I'm just reading more about this article though. So yeah, see if I can get my understanding about this. Oh, there's more. I think it's all the information I can find there, I guess. So yeah. So I do know that St. Patrick was born in Roman Britain in the late 4th century, according to Britannica. He was kidnapped at the age of 16 and taken to Ireland as an enslaved person. He escaped but returned about 432 CE to convert the Irish to Christianity. So that's pretty interesting. If you guys are religious people, then you know what I mean. But yeah. Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, you might have noticed I've changed my background slightly, as well as the placeholder for my name as green, because after all, many people do wear green on St. Patrick's Day. So yeah. And speaking of which, for the rest of the stream, I might talk about some green things too, like maybe some Green Thomas characters. Considering the fact that you guys love this show, I mean, yeah, I actually understand why you guys love that TV show so much. So let me just talk about briefly about some of the characters that are also green. I may also mention a few ones that have never been shown up too often, like I think Boko's a good example. I mean, Boko from Thomas Tank and Friends. I mean, he was lost in season 5, and after that, he was just gone. I mean, no one knows what happened to him, but I guess he could be still on the mainland or somewhere else in Soda, I guess. I mean, no one really knows. It's never explained what happened to him. I mean, fun fact, he was originally brought back in the Andrew Brenner era, like like during the time when they were working on the season 17 and onwards. Like they were going to bring back Boko, but Mattel just dropped that idea because they said that there are way too many male characters. I could also guess it's kind of understandable since Boko would look a little too similar to Daisy, I guess. I mean, both are green and diesel locomotives. Yeah, like with, with long bodies and, I mean, most kids get confused between these two characters, which I can understand that. But for me, though, it's actually quite easy to tell the difference. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, I think there's another character, I think that, another green character that never made into the CGI series of Thomas and Friends. That's called, I think his name is Derek, and a couple of friends told me about him on, like, you know, some of my other social media platforms, probably YouTube or I don't know, really. But basically, Derek is another character in the show. He only appeared in one episode of season 5 called Double Teething Troubles, as well as a cameo in Colio Engines. And after that, he was never seen again. Like, like no one even mentioned him. Although he was originally going to be brought back in season 16 and was going to be renamed Paxman, but this was changed in the final cut because, Paxman would sound too similar to another character named Paxton. Isn't it a coincidence that both characters are diesel engines? Yeah. And they're both green, so yeah. So if you guys want to ask anything in the chat, then just go ahead. I know I keep saying this before, but so far my previous streams haven't got, much, you know, um, comments in the chat for some reason. I mean, I mainly do these streams just for my pleasure and, stuff like that. Because I've seen one of my friends on YouTube, do that. He uses StreamYard a lot and to talk about stuff with his friends, but So guys, so I'm gonna ask you guys again in case you're new to my stream here. What do you think of St. Patrick's Day? And do you wear green on that day, or do you just do something else? Because I'd like to know. Oh yeah, I think I should have mentioned this earlier, but recently in My Sea Monsters, they have released a few new monsters to the game. Like they've released Epic Tuskski, which I sort of knew was gonna be which I actually knew was gonna be like based on the element it represents, the cold element, considering the fact it's just a bunch of ice cubes and some icebergs, etc. Because Epic Bowhead was like a bunch of waves that mashed to look like the Bowhead monsters, the other variants, I mean. Whereas Tusky was like it's just like the shape of Tusky but covered in ice cubes. So I wonder if Epic Gnarls and Epic Dromedary are also going to be I'm pretty sure they might follow the same traits because I'm thinking that I actually know that Epic Dromedary is going to be like a bunch of stones mishmashed together to create the shape of a dromedary, the other variants, I mean, while Gnarls is going to be like Gnarls is going to look like a bunch of plants together to look like to represent its element, the element that it represents the most, the plant element. Because after all the Quints and My Sea Monsters have to represent a different kind of natural element. Well, aside from Beth, but he's ethereal, so yeah, not natural fire. So yeah. This is the new monster I'm talking about right here. Pretty cool, right? I mean, oh yeah, I also noticed that he doesn't have any actual eyes, but he's got like he's got a skull in the ice cube. It's pretty scary, actually. You can even see his skeleton inside, like a giant fossilized creature. So that's pretty cool, eh? So, guys, what do you think of that? They also released, I mean, Epic Flute Fly was also another monster that they recently added. So yeah, might plan to get a common Tuskski, for my fairy island because when I first saw the design of Tusky back in like 2023, I was very surprised. I never thought that MSM would add a mammoth monster. And no, mammoth doesn't count because it looks more like some sort of primate creature, not like a giant woolly elephant like creature. So they really took that advantage with Tusky, making him look like a mammoth. So that's pretty cool, eh? So if I have Bowhead on my Psychic Island, I might also find Tusky as well. But yeah, I honestly think that Tusky, Gnarls, and Bowhead, the most recent fire monsters to release into the MSM franchise, I think they were like the coolest designs. Like, bro, they're really cool. I just can't believe it. So guys, I wonder what are your plans for St. Patrick's Day? You're probably gonna do something pretty special, or you're just gonna chill out like what I did for the most of the day, because I didn't have much plans of doing St. Patrick's Day stuff, to be honest. I just wore a green shirt and that's it really. But at least I'm doing this stream right now, so yeah, but it's probably gonna end pretty soon, so yeah, because I'm gonna have to do some other stuff. So yeah. And when I mean other stuff, I mean like studying, stuff like that. Oh yeah, so I also forgot to mention that Australia also celebrates St. Patrick's Day due to the significant Irish heritage, while there's like a large portion of the population having Irish ancestry, because Irish immigrants brought their traditions, making it a way to honor roots, connect communities, and enjoy Irish culture through all kinds of stuff I just explained before. So yeah, that's another thing that you probably didn't know about St. Patrick's Day. I also want to mention that some people on St. Patrick's Day, when they encounter people that are not wearing green, they just pinch them, which I don't think that's quite nice at all. I mean, that's one of the few reasons why I don't really like St. Patrick's Day that much, as much as Christmas or Halloween. But I'm not saying it's a bad celebration. I think it's a good one. It's just that what I mean is that's the only thing I just that's the only bad thing about St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, I mean, I didn't get pinched by people at my when I was outdoors, which is a good thing because I'm glad I didn't get pinched today. So yeah. Now I would do an Irish accent in one of my videos or this live stream, but I'm probably not gonna do that right now because I'm not very good at it. Sorry to say, guys, but I'm not trying to offend anyone. Just I'll just speak with my current accent as usual. So yeah. I mean, there's just some things I just can do and some things I can't. It's just natural for people, really. Nothing bad, to say the least. Oh yeah, but oh yeah. Remember I just mentioned before that you get pinched if you don't wear green on St. Patrick's Day. Well, that mainly happens in Ireland. I don't know if it happens like anywhere else in the world, but if you don't wear green on St. Patrick's Day, you'll get pinched because it's not the best of luck, to be honest. You know. So it's a good thing I wore green today. So yeah, and my avatar has green bits on it, and so is my background. So yeah, they're all yeah. they're all green to say the least. So yeah. All right, so if there's nothing I can talk about, nothing else we can talk about, then I might just end the stream off. So yeah, because I really have to get going. After all, the majority of my live streams are like half an hour long. So yeah. So yeah, before I end the stream, I'm just gonna say that my next live stream is probably gonna be like an Easter live stream, or it could be like my 8th anniversary live stream, because on the 22nd of this month, it's gonna be marking 8 years since I joined YouTube, which is pretty cool, right? So yeah, and I might be able to do something pretty special for this event. If not, then I just consider the live stream to be my main thing, like what I think is important, at least, because live streams for me are just easy to do. So yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I forgot to mention to you. Yeah, it's a good thing you're wearing green. So yeah, that's good. Anyway, sorry about my late reply, by the way, because I don't know why I get easily off track at times, but And besides, the stream is almost about to end, so yeah. So guys, make sure you stay safe on St. Patrick's Day. And I hope many of you other guys get to wear green on this day. So yeah, because that's the tradition for St. Patrick's Day. Otherwise, you don't want to get pinched or something like that. Anyway, this is ZESG54 Studios signing off and saying happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you guys. And I hope to see you again in another live stream, like hopefully at the end of this March, or if not, maybe in April, at the time when Easter arrives. So, yeah, this is me, and I'm out of here.